Hello guys, today we'll be learning about Solidity, the basics of Solidity. It is a high level programming language used to code smart contracts. We'll be learning just enough basics of Solidity so that we could able to start coding our simple smart contracts, right? We're not going to dive deep into this, but we'll just try to learn whatever is necessary just to write a simple program in Solidity so that you can run it on a blockchain, right? So let's get started. The If you look, I'm using a remix editor, which is an online editor for Solidity. It is quite useful and it's quite user friendly. I suggest you use this if you're a beginner. It helps you to write Solidity code, compile it, and also deploy it on a local blockchain so you can test it. It is really helpful. Okay, so the first line is this declaration called pragma. So this tells the Solidity compiler which Solidity version to use. I'm telling the Solidity compiler, hey Solidity compiler, if you're trying to compile this contract, you use the Solidity compiler version 0.8.1 or above. This character means that or above means the Solidity compiler can either use 0.8.1 or 0.8.2 or 0.8.3 and so on, right? So that is the whole purpose of this pragma statement. Coming to the main part of your contract, right? So this is where you actually write the code which executes on a blockchain. So to declare a contract, you write a contract keyword and the name you want to give your contract. For example, here I've called my contract demo. After the contract keyword, I've mentioned the name of the contract, and whatever you write within these curly braces um, is what is going to be executed on a blockchain. Now we learn the basics like how to declare a variable and how to declare a function that executes some piece of code, right? So to declare a variable, you just have to type the type of the variable and the name of the variable and the value which you have to assign to it. Now this event is nothing but it is telling the Solidity compiler that this num variable is of type event, which means that it is going to hold values of type unsigned integer. Now there are many types in Solidity programming language. We're not going to cover everything. We'll just try to cover whatever is necessary so that we could continue developing simple smart contracts. If you are curious about it, you can head over to the Solidity official webpage, official docs, and you can go to types. Here you can go to types, and then you can start learning different types present in Solidity language. I highly recommend doing this. You'll get a much better understanding of the programming language. Now I have declared a variable and assigned a value 10. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to declare a function. So if you are familiar with other programming languages like C, C++, Java, a function is nothing but a bunch of code which can be reused and again, right? For instance, let me call this function get num. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to return num. Now this is the basic way to declare a function. You have to remember you'll have to know a couple of other things while declaring a function. That is the input parameter. It could be any input parameter, right? It could be another num. Okay, so I could return num plus another num, something like this. Add the number which is in the contract and add the input parameter and return the sum. And also there is another keyword called public and private, which is the access specifier for this function. If I say if I mention public for this function, it means that this function can be called outside this contract, right? So if I say public, hey, I'm telling Solidity compiler, hey Solidity, this function can be accessed anywhere outside the contract, also within the contract. So there is no restriction for this function to be called. It can be called anywhere inside the contract as well as from outside. Other piece of code which is outside this contract can also call this getNum function. And if I were to call this private, right? So private makes it a bit more strict. By strict I mean that this function can be called only within this contract. no other piece of code outside this contract can call getNum function. So that is the whole idea behind public and private, to restrict its usage. So for simplicity, I'm going to call it public for now. We'll explore the other access specifiers in the coming videos. Okay, now that we have public, now next I need to tell what type of value this function returns. Now this function, as we can see, it returns sum of two okay, yeah. So this function returns sum of two uint variables, so the result is going to be of type uint. So I say it returns uint. And the other thing, there's one more keyword you need to be knowing about is there is two keywords. Actually, there are two keywords. Those two keywords are called view and pure. Now if I call this function view, what I'm telling the Solidity compiler is that this function can only read the contract variable or the contract state, but it cannot modify it. So view allows functions to read variables within contract, but cannot modify them. Okay, view allows function to read variables within contract, but you cannot modify them. So that is view. You can only read the variables. It makes your function only readable. By readable I mean it can only read the contract variable. Like it can only read num, but it cannot modify num. For instance, it cannot do like num is equal to 40 or so. It cannot do this. This is prohibited if you use the view keyword. And the other keyword is pure. Now if I call this function pure, this function is neither allowed to read nor modify the state variables or the contract variables. So this making a function pure allows functions to neither read nor modify the contract variables. Okay, yeah. So this is very strict form of view, right? So it is not even letting you read the variables and not even letting you modify it. So if you want to read and modify it, you might just remove this part, right? So, and one more important thing I had to mention. So if you want to compile this code, right, you can just save it like you would save any normal file in your file system. You can do Command S in case of Mac or Control S in case of Windows, and you can come to this compiler tab. In the left tab you have this Solidity compiler. You can click on it and you can see your compilation status. So here it says that the function state mutability can be restricted to view. Yeah, see, I'm just reading the num, so it is the compiler is saying me that you can just tell add the view keyword to be more specific about what this function does. Now the error is gone. Now if I were to modify the function value, I cannot give view anymore because it will throw an error saying that the function is declared as view, but this expression modifies the state. I'm trying to modify the state variable by using the view keyword, so I have to remove this and then it will work. Now let's say I'm not modifying nor reading any values from the state, so I'm just returning, let's say 1. Okay, so here the Solidity compiler will throw an error saying to throw a warning saying that hey, you're neither trying to read the variable from the state, and also not trying to modify the state variable. So you can declare pure over here to be more specific about what this function is doing. I'm still getting an error. Function parameter. Okay, it is saying me that this variable is unused, so I could just return this. Yeah, now the error is gone. Okay, Let's revert our code back. I'm just trying to return num plus another num. So this is reading the state variable, so to declare it as view, it is not modifying it. Okay, so now the compilation is successful. Now this is the basics you need to know, right? How to declare a contract, how to declare a variable, and how to declare a function. So this is kind of the ABCD of Solidity I'm trying to teach you right now. So the good thing about Remix is that it lets you deploy your smart contract right away, right? So at the left there's a button called deploy and run transactions. You can click on it, so this panel will open up. Here you can select JavaScript VM. So what you're telling Remix is that you want Remix to create in-browser blockchain, a local blockchain where you can deploy a contract and test it, right? So I can select JavaScript VM, and Remix also creates like 10 to 15 accounts for free, and each account is comes with 100 ether. So don't get confused with this with the mainnet Ethereum mainnet ether, because these 100 ethers are useless. They're just used to deploy this contract in Remix. There is not of any there they are not of any good financial value. Okay, now I can click on deploy to deploy this contract. As you can see, the contract is deployed, and there is a function called getNum, right? So here you can see this function. I can see here. Now I need to send an input parameter to this. Let me say 10 and hit getNum. So I'm getting 20 back, which is right. If you consider you already have num and you're sending 10 and you're adding 10 plus 10 and returning it. So 20 is the expected answer. So this is all about the basics of Solidity. And if you know this, guys, I can assure you that you can build simple smart contracts, not like really high sophisticated and advanced smart contracts will not be able to build with this knowledge. You need to delve deeper into Solidity and Ethereum blockchain. This will give you some understanding of how to create simple smart contracts, which I'll be posting about them in the coming videos about how to build simple smart contracts. Please stay tuned, and if you like the content I'm creating, please like, share, and subscribe, guys. It means a lot to me, and thank you for watching.